An open letter to Arsenal fans from the club. Over the last few days, the last few days have shown us yet again the depth of feeling our supporters around the world have for this great club and the game we love. We needed no reminding of this, but the response from supporters in recent days has given us time for further reflection and deep thought. It was never our intention to cause such distress. However, when the invitation to join the Super League came, while knowing there were no guarantees, we did not want to be left behind to ensure we protected Arsenal and its future. As a result of listening to you and the wider football community over recent days, we are withdrawing from the proposed Super League. We made a mistake and we apologize for it. We know it will take time to restore your faith in what we are trying to achieve here at Arsenal, but let us be clear that the decision to be part of the Super League was driven by our desire to protect Arsenal, the club you love, and to support the game you love through greater solidarity and financial stability. Stability is essential for the game to prosper, and we will continue to strive to bring the security the game needs to move forward. The system needs to be fixed. We must work together to find solutions which protect the future of the game and harness the extraordinary power football has to get us on the edge of our seats. Finally, we know this has been hugely unsettling at the end of what has been an incredibly difficult year for us all. Our aim is always to make the right decisions for this great football club, to protect it for the future, and to take us forward. We didn't make the right decision here, which we fully accept. We have heard you. An open letter from the Arsenal board. And speaking of financial stability,
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
I think the bottom line here, if we've learned anything from any of this, it's that I can read. They're not.
That was good. That was good, Spielberg. Move on.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Same old Arsenal, USA. We are back. The usual cast of characters, minus one. He'll be here later. But Stan is beside me. Stan, how are you?
I'm good, and if I'm looking a little bit darker to the viewers tonight, it's because I've just gone into witness protection.
I was going to say you got a suntan.
I knew it.
Yeah, I'm pulling a Henry Hill. Other than that, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
good
I'll say I'm good, man. But you know, we're going to come to it in just a moment.
Yeah, we sure are. Rohan, the Arsenal Esquire, down below. What's happening?
What's happening is just trying to recover from all the emotion of the past 2 days, and everything that's been going on. There's just so much pent up frustration. There's also joy now, but there's confusion of where we are at, and so a realization of the state of affairs of football and what we love. So all of these things, and try to unwrap that in this what I call the therapy session that we have here.
It's going to be therapeutic tonight. Making his long-awaited same old AFC USA debut. That would be you below me there, Glenn.
I'm
looking around to see who I was talking about, weren't you?
I'm thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be asked. Stan and Rohan, I've not seen you in forever. I'm so excited to see you guys again.
You know what? I didn't even know that was you, Glenn. I thought Ryan had just let himself go a bit.
Ryan will be joining us shortly. Good evening to everybody in the chat. I'm going to throw it over to Stan for the usual greeting for everybody.
Yeah, welcome everyone in the chat box. Who was first in tonight? Monster Munch. That's a new one on me. Not seen you around before, Monster Munch. My favourite flavour though is pickled onion. Lone Star Londoner, he's always here. The Visionites music. I don't recognise that one either. Slippery Sloth, Gary's in there moderating. Really Saka, Ryan, Alexander. Seems to me there's a lot of new names in there this week. Football with Brownies in there. Tony Turner, Natty Zion. Welcome everybody. I'm sure it's going to be intense.
Glenn pulling the crowds in.
Yeah.
No,
So-
it's the opposite effect when I'm on a show, Rohan. I am the very definition of obnoxious dickhead. Go ahead.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that.
Because he can attest to that. Because when when it was first announced as Super Leaguer, you were like, I guess maybe I'll give it a try. And I sent you like a 2-paragraph DM saying, "What
Sure
are you
did.
doing?"
Sure did. So yeah, there actually was a game that we played on Sunday, and we'll get into that later. Now that everything is starting to calm down, but we need to dive into the Super League stuff. So,
okay, we're starting there. I need 10 seconds. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. So, Stan, I'm going to start with you. The announcement comes Sunday night. The formation of a Super League. It is a closed league. Well done. Just had to turn yourself a little bit there, Glenn, didn't you?
Yes.
But Stan, Sunday night the announcement comes down. Closed league, with the exception of 5 automatic qualifiers, in addition to 15 founding members. What was your initial reaction to the news?
Well, I'd been on the sauce all day, right? So when I started getting in the news in, I was like half cut, and I thought like Arsenal were leaving the Premier League. And I'm like, you're wasting some of my timeline. I'm like, do I have to pick a new football club now? Because I was of the opinion, well, I picked Arsenal because I wanted to pick a team that played in the British football, right? And the team I chose was Arsenal. So I was thinking, well, if Arsenal were leaving the Premier League, I ain't going with them. If Arsenal decided they were going to start playing cricket, I'm not going to start watching cricket. That's not how it works. But luckily, that's not what was going down. But my feelings were, I've supported Arsenal for about almost 45 years, and I have experienced quite a range of emotions in that time supporting them, from from some extreme joyous joys to some real down and depressing moments. But the one that I'd never experienced until when all this news came out, I actually felt a little bit ashamed. I'm the sort of person that when I go on holiday, if I'm going somewhere hot, and there's like a beach, I usually pack a few Arsenal tops to take with me. And you'll see me proudly wearing a pair of shorts and my Arsenal top on the way down to the beach in the morning, after I've had some breakfast. And I was actually thinking to myself that if I was going on a trip like that tomorrow, I probably wouldn't want to take those tops with me, especially if there's maybe some West Ham guys around or someone from Brighton or Burnley, because who do we think we are? Who do we think we are that we were going to try and pull off this smash and grab? And then when you hear about the context of what the competition was supposed to consist of, I mean, what does that mean? It's not happening now, but it would have definitely diluted the Premier League, because if you're not going to be in the Europa League, you're not going to be in the Champions League, you're just going to be in the European Super League. Your games in the Premier League are, if you can't win the league and you're not going to get relegated, everything else is just like shooting practice, right? So you're probably going to be putting out your B team, because in a couple of days' time, you've got to fly off somewhere and have a dance with Real Madrid or Juventus. So it would totally have diluted the Premier League. I mean, a closed league where there's no peril of getting relegated or it doesn't matter about where you come if you don't win, if you don't win it, because again, you'll be in that league again next season.
Right.
So I'm just so glad that however this happened, that cooler heads prevailed and that it's not happening. But how do you move on from here? Because listening to the full statement that you read out, I'm okay. I'm glad they said sorry. That's something I can take out of it. But the rest of it was horseshit, to be fair. I mean, the alleged document that was presented is like 177 pages Do you know how long that must have been like in the works for? At least a year. And meanwhile, you know, during that time, all those clubs, those 6 clubs, were sending their executives off to these meetings with UEFA and all of these other, you know, other governing bodies. And they were sat there across the Premier League meeting table listening to Brighton talk about what they're going to do next season. And we just paid lip service to all of that and went, oh yeah, really? Knowing that we might not even be about. So how do you sit back down at the table? I mean, Vinay, he stepped down, didn't he, from the some board in the English league or
the European Clubs Association.
Yeah. What does he do now? Does he go back and say that he made a mistake? It was a moment of madness. Do they turn around and say, well, Arsenal need to send another representative because you won't do business with this man? You know, this man has obviously known about what was going on well over probably a year ago and was coming to these meetings and just paying lip service. So muddy waters.
For sure. Rohan, I'll come to you next and basically just the same thing on Sunday when you heard the news. What were your initial thoughts? What were your initial feelings?
So beginning of it, I was like, you know, to be honest, I felt happy in the beginning, right? Like, because I was like, no more going to, you know, whatever places that we go to in Eastern Europe. And now we're not good enough to get into the Champions League. So we find a backdoor entry to play these elite teams. And, you know, the Champions League nights, you know, it's becoming a distant memory. So I was like, oh, wow, like that's going to be back. And, you know, so I felt happy on one part there. And then I thought that at least Arsenal still had the stature to be included, even though we haven't been, you know, what we were, you know. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's great, you know, to think that Arsenal is still up there, you know, and it's not just like in the heads of deluded Arsenal fans. Then I wanted to know more, you know, what is this about? And, you know, I heard a bunch of podcasts and, you know, news outlets, etc. And then I realized one thing, you know, the only reason why Arsenal do anything is for money, right? Like that's how Arsenal function, right? They were okay with Wenger. They were happy with Wenger, in fact, as long as he didn't spend the money and he brought in money with Champions League and with all the ticket sales. But as soon as he lost that spot, they replaced him, right? And they did it really badly, in my opinion. Okay. And the change was required, but the way that had happened, I wasn't in agreement with it, right? And then I was thinking, okay, then I understood that this is a closed league. You know, it doesn't matter where we end up. We're going to play there every time. So initially, while I was thinking 350 million, we get like 35 million for the Champions League in a season, and we want to sign superstars based off of that. If we get 350 million, then we're going to have the best team in the world. But I understood that if it's closed and if there's no carrot to finish higher up in the league, they're not going to spend a penny of that 350 million. They're not going to spend any money of that because it's guaranteed. They're not going to play the full strength squad. It's going to be like how we play in the Carabao Cup, like Stan put it, where you have man throwing balls into the net, right? You know, that sort of team we're going to play week in, week out. And that 350 million, that's going to go in Stan Cronkies' pocket. And that's when I hated it, right? And that's when I didn't want it. And I was like, you know, this can't happen, so on and so forth. And then I heard all the, you know, so-called pundits, you know, speaking so much. And right at the forefront was Gary Neville. I generally like Gary Neville. He makes good points. He's quite clear and articulate, and he's quite passionate, right? He was so passionate that Roy Keane took the backseat, and he was like, yeah, whatever this guy is saying, you know. So it was almost like they must have given Roy Keane like a elephant tranquilizer or something, because he was calm as shit. But this guy, like Gary Neville, was losing it. But then at some point, it was just that after every few sentences, there was a dig at Arsenal, right? That, why is Arsenal and Tottenham, those guys have waggled their way or something into it. And he was like, I'd rather see the champions of San Marino. Like, what has United done in the last 8 years? What is with this perspective that United, who has not been close to winning title for the last 8 years, who finished below us in 5 seasons, who won lesser trophies than us, is somehow still a big club. And 8 years after we had won the Invincibles, we were a banter club at that point.
Take it back a step, Rohan. Why did he mention Arsenal? Because Arsenal fans have the knee-jerk reaction and give them the clicks that they want. That is premeditated what he did. They get the clicks from Arsenal fans. I was doing a post-game show on Claude and the Bansters after the Fulham game. And I was bitching that after Arsenal tied the game, they didn't take that ball out of the net and run back to the midfield, right? They celebrated like they won a trophy. Right in the middle of that rant, the host, Terry, announced the Superliga thing. And I shut up, which is hard to do to me. Just shut me up. And
we know.
And I was on with Kenny Ken was on the show too. And he was like, I like it. And I instantly hated it, but I'm like, all right, let me see what it is before I say that I hate it. And I hate to disagree with Kenny because he'd kick my ass. You see how freaking built he is? It only took me a few hours to realize it was a effing cash grab and nothing else. And I immediately knew that the whole football world would be against this. And I started tweeting, this isn't going to happen. Don't worry. The next day the Liverpool Leeds game, Jurgen Klopp after the game was talking about fans yelling at the team before the game and yelling at him about this Superliga stuff. I realized, oh my God, I've never seen Arsenal, Spurs, Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea fans all united in the same thing. This thing is not going to last. And I'm glad to be right because it was such a transparent cash grab and everybody saw it.
No, yeah. And it's UEFA who's let this happen today, right? Like, because they came up with FFP and they never implemented it. That's why there were teams like Chelsea and Manchester City and PSG who are now higher up, and we need to now catch up when we've done things the ethical way, and that hasn't helped. And now we wanted to go and get that 350 million, which I would have supported if I had any trust in the ownership, but I don't. And they're not going to do anything about it. So I was like, you'd rather not have it and not ruin the Premier League, which is what we tune in to watch every week, right? Like, for the next 23 years, you're not going to spend a single cent because you're guaranteed a place in that league. So that's why I don't like it. But what is up with these with these commentators, with experts, etc.? Somehow there's a dig at Arsenal, and I'm just like, it's just punching down. It's easy to make fun of Arsenal because, like, and I'll tell you why. Because we've got very successful fans, in the sense, and I mean it with all due respect, right? Like, Glenn, like, I have, sort of contributed to in my small way towards AFTV with the videos, etc. And I have no problem with AFTV and the content that because that's a platform. You can't blame a platform. And there are some people who are really good at what they do. So that's why when we get spanked 5-1 by Bayern Munich, it becomes viral. But Chelsea don't have that, and that's why when they lose 6-0 to City, they don't have
that. That would never happen in the European.
1-2 to Spurs, and it doesn't become a highlight. But everybody remembers that Arsenal lost 5-1 to Bayern Munich, right? And that's so we are sort of victims of us, of our club having super fans as such. But these commentators, these pundits, all of these experts, just punching down on Arsenal has like really got me infuriated.
BG, just give me 15 seconds. I feel bad. Ryan's probably chomping at the bit to talk. I know Stan is.
No, he's actually not.
We're never going to get spanked 5-1 by Bayern Munich.
Please give me 15 seconds. Gary Neville does that because the top YouTubers are going to make videos about him being an asshole, and they're just going to get more clicks. That's why they do it. The other thing is, I don't blame Arsenal in this at all. The villain is Cronky. The beautiful part of this Superliga dying is now everybody sees him for what he is, a greedy son of a bitch grifter. That's my 15 seconds.
Stan, you had said something, and everybody kept going.
I was just basically saying that, Ryan, you'd have no worries about us getting humped 5-1 by Bayern Munich in that ESL because Bayern weren't in it, so we wouldn't have to face that humiliation. So maybe we should have got into it.
So, Ryan, I guess I won't divulge any of our conversations from the past couple of days. I'll just let you basically have your say on everything. What was your feeling when you saw the news? And start there. Just when you heard of the Super League, what were your immediate thoughts and feelings?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I knew. I absolutely knew you were going to say that.
No. For all of you guys, it's a famous football interview with Marshawn Lynch. But anyways, no. I have nothing really to say about this because when I first heard it, I literally laughed. I laughed at my friends who brought it up. Very, Man City fans, Everton fans, and Arsenal fans. And I laughed like, this is just, it's not going to happen. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, it came out, I tweeted about it, and they made a website about it. That's awesome. It's a joke. And I tried kind of like reading up on it a little bit. I tried asking, a few questions here and there. But in the back of my head, I'm like, this is not going to happen. Why bother? Why waste my breath? Why waste my energy going through all the hoopla that some people went through on Twitter, other social media platforms. I have a text message group with a bunch of my friends, my Man City friends, Everton fans, and Arsenal fans, and they were going crazy. My phone was blowing up. It's like, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't know. I'm just, I guess, like the outcast from school. But with that, I still have a beer. I still have a beer of the week, just to show, everyone knows how.
Yes. I'm now drinking Ouch My Vagina. Go ahead. Tell us the beer.
I will. Anyways. That was last week's beer, Glenn. You should have been here. No, so in my utmost stupidity, I was searching for a beer before soccer and I couldn't, I was looking, I was actually at the beer store. I couldn't find something. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Greed is good. And I was like, this is the perfect beer. I get home from the store. Beer is called Green is Gold. So my beer of the week is Green is Gold by I don't even know. I thought I had a steal with Green is Good, but it's Green is Gold, and that's my beer of the week. And it is what it is. It was a money grab, and I won't divulge any information that I had with a certain somebody who I will remain nameless. We at first we kind of agree. It's not you, Tanner. We kind of agreed.
I know it's not me. I want to know who it is.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I want to know who you're cheating on me with.
We kind of.
Why don't you guys just hang a clothesline between you like a couple old maids? Go ahead, go.
We have a sheet that separates us with a hole in the middle, Glenn, but we won't get into that. Anyways, the first thing that me and this person thought was, oh, we're gonna get money. We need money. We need to buy players. We need to get good quick because we're not good. We need to compete with these teams. And then you're like, oh, it's the cash grab. Okay, cool. Not gonna happen. And even with saying that, I was like, I still don't care. It's not gonna happen. And then I'm just like, oh, like. Bunch of assholes trying to get, just again, cash grab. So, long story short, too late. I know. Don't care. Never cared. It's not happening. So we move on. But yeah, it is definitely a turd stain on the club a little bit with our ownership. So I'm interested to see how that pans out going forward. I'm interested to see, who resigns. And, we have with Man U, they had Woodward resign, which apparently he was resigning in the summer anyway, but he was resigned early. So that's going to be interesting to see. We might have our own little summer transfer window with the upper management, which would be even more interesting now for me because I'm so excited for the summer to come.
Is anyone here on the fence about Cronky in or out?
No way. No way.
Anyone?
No way. You know what they did? You know what they did that's gone under the radar? Before they announced this thing, they went to court to make sure that no third parties could sue them, meaning the fans. All right. They planned this out. This was a total grift. No,
Yeah.
I'll never. I don't care who he signs in the summer. F you. You showed me who you are. Get out.
I've been hearing that Stan Kroenke is now open to selling. But Josh, his son, is heavily against it. I don't know how true that is, but
yeah, a lot of reports doing the rounds after the statement came out from the club. And I will say this: that at least we got something right in this mess. Granted, if we don't go down this road in the first place, there's no statement that needs to be made. But based on what some of the other clubs had put out, I think our statement was at least the most. I don't want to say heartfelt because I don't think it's heartfelt, but compared to Liverpool's statement, my God, they were just like, we thank the advisors for their time. That was it. At least our club came out and whoever put together the press release, the PR department got this one right because they did apologize and said, okay, look, we got it wrong and we're owning up to it. Now, obviously, Stan and Josh Cronky have absolutely no input on that statement whatsoever. Unless they, it's run by their desk to say, this is what we're going to put out. Do you approve it? And why wouldn't you?
That's the final step. I've seen that done a million times. A bunch of people at a table, their PR people put that together.
Sure,
their statement should have said, we heard you, we're sorry. All right. But no, they wanted to cover all their bases and pretend like they were trying to do the right thing. You can stick that apology up your ass. Cronky, not the team.
Well,
I have nothing against the team. Nothing against the team. They didn't even tell the manager and players. I got nothing against the team.
Yeah, that's kind of that's a real good point, actually, Glenn.
So it leads to the point then that if there is going to be some form of a punishment, I mean, are we just going back to business as usual? Like the last 48 hours never happened. We just wiped it from our minds. We woke up in the morning, Pam got out of bed, Bobby's back in the shower. It was all a dream, right? Like in Dallas. Or or is there going to be some kind of a punishment? And if there is going to be a punishment, first of all, the chat about, relegating the 6 teams down 2 divisions, it's never going to happen because the whole point of this was having these teams back into the Premier League. So, they're definitely going to be back in the Premier League. Chucking the teams out of their European competitions, again, like Glenn just said, it's something to do with the manager, something to do with the players, and therefore the supporters. That's who's being punished if you do something like that. So how is this going to be? How are punishments going to happen? Right? It's got to be at the ownership, but I don't see how.
So
because a points deduction that hurts us as well.
Well, let's speak to the Esquire in the room because Rowan, this is what you do for a living, is dealing with contracts. And in terms of punishment, I mean, let's face it, everybody talks about punishment, and I'm sorry, but this is one of those, like, okay, we're the woman scorned, and now we want to get back at whatever for scorning us, and now we want to make them hurt a little bit. There's not going to be any punishment here, in my opinion, and Rowan, there would have to be something written into the bylaws of the Football Association and the Premier League, basically to say, okay, we can punish you with these individual repercussions, if you do A, B, or C. Now, if there's nothing written in there, if there's no language written into these things, what recourse really would the FA or UEFA or the Premier League as a separate entity, what recourse would they really have if there is no language written into this stuff?
No, because there isn't going to be, and so I can give you a few perspectives here, right? Like the first one is that they even did their legal due diligence, right? Like, because there are antitrust, anti-competitive laws in place, which make sure, which again is another thing that they researched on. And apparently, from what I have read and what I've understood, it's a very close margin of 50-50, 49-51 sort of a margin, where technically the Premier League could not say that you can't form another league or go into another competition, because that would be anti-competitive. So they had the legal backing there. So I don't think anything can happen on that front. They can't relegate these teams or treat them too harshly, because let's be honest, as big as the Premier League is, these 6 teams are the Premier League, right? They are the biggest teams, which bring in the maximum revenue. And unlike La Liga, we split the money 20 ways. Yeah, all the TV money gets split 20 ways. It's not like in La Liga, where Barcelona and Real Madrid get the biggest chunk. They get like a huge, like 70 or 80% of the TV rights money only goes to them, and then everybody else gets the rest of the pie. But here, it gets divided amongst everyone. So again, from a realist's point of view, they're not going to do anything about it. And they're going to try to just make an example of this and try to say that, oh, this is the power that we have. But in the end, they didn't have any power to stop these guys or to do anything else. All of this has happened because they themselves are greedy a-holes, right? Like, that's how the Premier League was formed, and that's how the new format of the Champions League was formed. Stan would definitely know that the Champions League was much different than what it is from 2003. All of this has evolved over time, and it's been because of money. Why has all of this happened? So now, because of all of these reasons, to be honest, if there is a point deduction, it doesn't matter, because we're not going to finish in European places anyway. And what is that point deduction going to do? Not have them in the Champions League, which is where they wanted us to be anyway. So for all of these reasons, there's nothing going to happen. They're going to pretend like, the Premier League will try to show like they somehow had a victory over these clubs by forcing them to stay. The clubs have arm twisted UEFA to. I like this theory that Tony had given, that the timing seems such that these clubs could coerce UEFA into paying them more money or some sort of a deal to stay in the Champions League. It came out at the right time when they were going to announce the changes in the Champions League the next day, and they came out with such an announcement, a bombshell, and they needed to keep them. There's just so many things in play, and the biggest reaction of to the fact that UEFA or FA or nobody can do anything is in reality what happened with Manchester City when they had a transfer ban, and they took UEFA to court and they beat them in court. All of these clubs have a lot of money. They can defend themselves, and there's nothing going to happen against them.
May I have 15 seconds, BG?
Yeah.
First of all, Rohan, I am digging your lawyer deal. If my wife ever smarts up and leaves me, I'm hiring you, man. You're fantastic. The other thing is when this thing first, and I'm not naming names, and I'm not naming them off the air either. I was having a DM debate with someone who I think is one of the smartest guys on YouTube, and he was convinced that there was no stopping the Superliga. And I said to him, they cannot fight the entire worldwide base of football fans. They are already lying, saying that, oh, the youth don't like football anymore. Shut up. I knew it was all BS. And this guy, he was convinced because JP Morgan gave $6 billion to these clubs to form this league. Oh, that's longer than 15 seconds. Go. So sorry.
Glenn is both the angriest and most polite guest or co-host that we have ever had on this show.
I'm sorry.
That's tremendous. You go off for 15 and you're like, oh wait. I went longer than 15 seconds. I'm so sorry.
It's the radio side of me, you know. If you talk too much, a guy in a suit after the show says, "You sounded like a babbling monkey. What's wrong with you?" So I always practice word economy.
Well, we say that to Ryan all the time when the lights go off. So exactly.
Glenn, if your pal that said the ESL was definitely going to go ahead, and you think he's the smartest bloke on YouTube, I don't even want to know what you think about me. So,
well, Stan, I do think you're intelligent, but I'm also a little scared of you. So, I don't know. There's something about you, like you know where I live.
I'm going back into the darkness.
Yeah. There you go. Bring up a comment.
Here. I derailed your show, BG. Please
not at all.
Continue.
Not, it's our show, not my show. Our show. I don't believe that these clubs would have gone this far doing all the actions they did to get less money than they had ready from JP Morgan, other investors, and the potential TV streaming rights. So I will say that they still, in my limited knowledge opinion, in all honesty, I think they could have pressed forward with this, because at the end of the day, the TV and whatnot, all that stuff, that's paid up front. Well, it's paid year to year, but once that contract is signed, and if ratings tank and nobody watches, it doesn't matter. They're on the hook to pay it. So, it was Amazon and DAZN, I think, that were ponying up, although Amazon Prime Sport put out a statement that said they had not been contacted about TV rights at all, and they were against it, and they would have turned it down.
You're not going to get anybody to admit it now with the backlash that happened.
No, this was pretty early on that Amazon Prime came out with that. It was pretty much up front, because somebody had said that Amazon Prime and DAZN were already on board, and then Amazon Prime sometime Sunday night put the statement out that said we've had no discussions about television rights for this at all. So
I know there was a small handful of fans that had no problem with Super League, but the majority wanted nothing to do with it, and that was the owner's biggest mistake, thinking that everybody would blindly follow them to the Superliga.
I mean, look, let's be honest here, and I don't know if this is playing devil's advocate or not. I'm not trying to, but the fact is that these things are, look, the game is going to constantly evolve. The formats of competition is going to constantly evolve. That's just the way of the world. And where just follow the money. My grandfather and I were talking about this earlier today. Follow the money. And the money's always going to lead to something bigger and presumably better. The fact is that of these teams, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're shoo-ins, and Rowan, just like you said with the TV deals in Spain, they get 80% of it. So how does anybody in Spain ever compete with those two based on television revenue? You can pretty much count on Barcelona, Real Madrid being in the Champions League, right? At this point, you can pretty much count on Manchester City being there. They'll buy their way in every year. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, what it was simply saying you're buying your way into something that exists rather than qualifying to get in. And I don't agree with any of it, to be honest with you. I came out at first, and I will say, and Glenn called me out on this, and just sort of answer my own question.
Dude, you always felt that way. Don't kill yourself. You felt that way for 5 minutes.
Well, I put out a tweet and I said, you know what? As long as we stay in the Premier League, I can see the point of this. I still can see the point of it. I think everybody can see the point of it, whether we like it or not. That's a separate conversation, but we can see the point of it. We can see what the clubs were trying to do. The more that I've read about this, sidebar, Barcelona, Real Madrid, were the Americans were not the driving force behind this. And that utterly shocks me, because I really thought that it was the Glazers and the Cronkies really spearheading this thing. It was Barcelona, Real Madrid.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. New York-based investment firm JP Morgan fronted the whole thing. All of them.
But what I'm saying is that as Barcelona, Real Madrid were the ones really pushing for it, because they're the ones that are the most in debt. Barcelona are $1 billion in debt. 1 billion with a B, no, 1 billion euros in debt. Wrap your brain around that.
See what?
They're almost more in debt than their club is worth. They're on the road to being more in debt than what they're worth. They would have to take a loss if that club, and I don't understand the ownership system in Spain, but if Barcelona were to ever be sold, they'd take a loss on the club. Real Madrid are close. They're in the high 900 million euros in debt. What this was these clubs who every club at every level in European football in the world have been hit hard because of the pandemic and lack of match day revenue. It exists everywhere. But these clubs were hit the hardest. Well, they're not hit the hardest. They're hit the most because of because of their worth, because of their value and the money that they do generate every year. Okay.
Also about if we're saying that it's taken them about a year to obviously get all of this down, because it's like 177 pages, right? This must have been in the pipeline for some time. So going back when lockdown first started, a number of teams in the UK took the money from the government that was being handed out. I think we did. Tottenham definitely did. So they took that, but they knew in their mind that this other money was going to be coming down the pipe. Yet people were furloughed and people lost their jobs. You know, people were put on light duties and stuff like that, and people lost money. And that leaves a bad taste in my mouth that, if anything, they should have thought to themselves, well, actually, we're going to have a bit of a windfall. We could just keep everything as it is. We're going to have this extra cash coming in. But you don't become a billionaire because you're charitable, right? You become a billionaire because you're a greedy bastard and
right.
You know to make your money work for you. And this was all about the bottom line. This is what it's all about, right? It's about their bottom line. And do we think that these owners are going to leave the club in shame? I don't think people, when they get to that level and they operate in the sort of figures that they operate in, they don't have that sense of shame. This is probably just a deal that didn't happen, and now they're going to be looking for the next deal, the next opportunity to continue to build their empires.
They were looking for a way to be. They were looking for a way to be saved from themselves. That's what this is. They were looking for a way to be saved from themselves. Hey, somebody else come in here and bail me out because I've spent myself into oblivion and now I need more money. I need money to make myself whole. That's what this is. And to Tony's point, if I can find it here, it was just right there in front of me. But yeah, the clubs wanted more revenue from the Champions League and they will get it now. I don't know that they're going to get it now. Well, they're not going to get it now. The rules supposedly kick in 2024. But the big clubs, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Liverpool, are the clubs that are saying, look, we're the ones that are driving the revenue here. We want a bigger piece of the revenue pie. So their problem is where the Champions League starts at 32 teams, the rumors are going to up it to 36. The format of play is going to be similar to what the Super League was proposing. The new Champions League rules supposedly are basically grandfathering some of the most successful European clubs in, the two Spanish clubs, Liverpool, probably Manchester United. I don't know how Manchester City get grandfathered into this because they have no European success other than getting to the semifinal of the Champions League. So, yeah, I mean, we don't deserve to be there. Tottenham don't deserve to be there. You know, Celtic deserve to be there more than 10 of these, or, you know, half these teams. Excuse me. Aston Villa were named here. Aston Villa,
Rangers,
Yep. You know, so it at the end of the day, it was. I look. It was meant. It's meant for more money. None of us dispute that. If anyone thinks, and when I say us, I don't mean just the five of us on screen, but everybody in the chat as well. If you think that the next owner comes in and doesn't try to maximize the club's value and maximize his profit, you're sadly mistaken. In this day and age, these people aren't coming in and buying a football club to run it the way it was run 50 years ago. They're coming in
and pray, right? That we all hope and pray secretly that another Jack Walker's going to walk in like he did at Blackburn, a local businessman who's got some money, You know, he's really into the community. He's from that part of North London. He's a successful businessman, and he's going to have ambition himself and pump money in. I think those days are gone.
Those days are 110%.
I can't remember his name.
Unless you're a league
from Africa, that guy, he seems to have a bit of a, you know, he seems to be a bit of a supporter and have a little bit of ambition, you know.
But like you said, but where's he from? He's not that businessman from North London that grew up with it. He's a fan, and God bless him for that. He's a fan. Fantastic. That's great. But you'll never see this because I just don't know that this kind of money. I mean, unless you're City or PSG and you're state owned, I don't know that there's the kind of money that we're talking about to come in and do what we're saying now. League One, League Two sides, sure, maybe a lower table championship side, maybe, but it's just you need somebody like I hate this, like not you need someone with the sort of assets that the Cronkies have. Because they can put up the Rams, you know, the Avs, the Nuggets, and everything to buy in and get this deal done. Glenn, hold your thought. Let me bring Rowan in real quick here. Go ahead, Rowan.
So, you know, I honestly think, like I said, you know, the fault is of UEFA for allowing FFP to fail. And now we, as Arsenal, have fallen behind, and we don't have that sort of money, in the sense that we know that our owners are not going to spend that much money, right? If we had those sort of owners whom we could trust, even though they wouldn't put their money, if I knew as an Arsenal fan, if I knew that we're going to get 350 million, we're going to spend that 350 million and we're going to close the gap on these other teams, I would have supported this proposal. It doesn't matter. There are other closed leagues in the world. They exist. People support them. That's fine. You know, for my self-interest, because I follow the Arsenal, you know, I would have supported it. But the point is that I don't trust the Cronkies to put a single penny of that. The competition is required to coerce these guys to spend the money on the clubs. If there is no pressure, if they aren't getting, if there isn't a stake, you know, of missing out on that money, they will not do anything. And that's the basic problem. If we were run by someone, say, like an Abramovich, right? Or, you know, the city owners, etc., who don't really care about that money, right? Like Abramovich has pumped so much of his personal money. If Chelsea got that 350 million, I don't think he would have grabbed that money and gone away. He would have invested that because he wants to win. He wants to win. He's there. He's shown that in the past 16, 17 years that he's in England to win. City folks are there to win. But Arsenal, and the same goes for Liverpool, and the same goes for Manchester United, their owners are there to make money. They wouldn't have spent a single penny. And that's why this idea doesn't work for me as a fan.
Okay.
Yeah,
going back to what you said, BG, about the teams losing money. Cry me a river. Here's the smallest violin in the world playing from. Everybody's hurting. You cannot own a football team without being able to survive something like this. Everybody's yesterday. And BG, you know this because I DM'd you about this. I had a plumber come to my house. I thought it was going to be $500. It turned out to be $1,500 to pay for that plumber. And the first thing my wife said to me is, you can forget your PS5 till the summer. Everybody's hurting. I don't want to hear about it. As far as Cronky and the spending of money, I slightly disagree with Rohan because he bought Partey. They have the option to buy Odegaard. He just spends it in the wrong friggin' places, and he's an owner. He's an owner that doesn't give a crap, and he showed his hand with this Superliga. I try to think of the positives of this Superliga ending, besides the Superliga ending, is what are the first 6 teams to drop out? All from the Premier League. I'm proud of that, all right? I'm still, as you guys are, Arsenal, diehard through and through. But, Cronky, you showed your hand. The clock is ticking, ticking, ticking. Sell the team. There's no coming back. There's no coming back from this one.
I think the fact of the matter is that the owners thought that a guarantee of playing in what they felt would be the most prestigious league in the world would go over well. And we would get this money, and on its face, it would get pumped back into the team. And we know that's not true, so they really did think this through. Ryan, you looked like you were getting ready to go on about something. So
no, I just wanted to say, listen, I did say I was here just so I wouldn't get fined, but really I'm here for Glenn, and he's taking my energy, and I fucking love you, Glenn. I love this.
Thanks,
and
Ryan.
Just keep going. This is
right
awesome.
back at you, bro. Right back at you.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
Listen, Glenn, if you want, I'll bring the sheet over.
I was just going to say there's a sheet involved here, Glenn, if you want to get behind on the other side of it.
Oh, my God. You're like,
and to be fair, Glenn, I have people texting me talking about how you're a firecracker and you're killing it right now. So good shit,
Glenn.
Keep going.
Glenn, just real quick, when you guys are done, Ryan does give tremendous back rubs, by the way, for cuddle time. So,
it's not about people go clockwise, you go counterclockwise.
Oh, I hate back rubs and feet rubs. My wife asked me to rub her feet the other day. It was like rubbing raw meat in a plastic bag. It was disgusting.
Rowan, please get us back on track. Rowan, go ahead. You raise your hand. Rowan, go ahead.
There's no recovering from this now. Now it's done. The joy of not having an extra 350 million to become competitive has just blown over, and
Stan, were we? Tell me the truth. 350 million euros or whatever it was we were going to get out of this deal to supposedly improve the infrastructure of the club. Now that's player personnel, but does anybody really think that the Cronkies were going to take 350 million euros and pump it right back in to the quality of the football team?
No. Well, no. I mean, just no. Basically, I've always been a little bit indifferent to the Cronkies. I've never been on that Cronky out train. I've never felt that we've gone cap in hand. We've had money over the years since they've been in. They don't turn up at games. Doesn't bother me whether they're there or not. Really, that's not what I'm about. I mean, Abramovich, he goes to a lot of games, but in all the time he's been at the helm of Chelsea, I don't know what his voice sounds like. I've never heard him speak, right? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but as of this, what's happened over the last, 48, 72 hours or so, I want the Cronkies out, man. Like Glenn said, they showed their fucking hand. We know now exactly what it is that they're about. And it wouldn't surprise me if, someone like him, the Glaziers, John Henry, all of these people, and I'm not just digging at the Americans, but it is that consortium, that this was something that's been on the back burner for maybe some time, This was a good idea that, for a really good cash grab. And as Graham Souness says, right, these are business people. So what would probably have happened is, if it had all gone ahead, in like 24 months or so, once the club had probably doubled or tripled in its value, because that's what would happen, right? There'd be an exit strategy. That's what happens. When you have a product and you get that product and you bring it to market, you don't stick with it for the long haul. You have an exit strategy, and an Apple comes in and takes that shit over, or someone like that. So that was probably the plan. They were all gonna raise the double or triple the price of the club, and then just exit with their money. Thank you very much, because they're only custodians at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? That's all they are, really. They are custodians. And then we'd have had to get the next guy in and then have to work out whether he's a shady, slimy fuck or whether he's got the game at heart or the club at heart. And, I really hope that what's his name? Dagonte. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name.
Dangote or something. Yeah, close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, someone like him who was at least invested in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually understands the game of football and may have a fondness for Arsenal. I'd much rather we try something like that kind of a model, because this rich oligarch, I'm a land portfolio guy, and London's a right prime piece of real estate, so that's in my portfolio. That's how I kind of think of Cronky. That's the kind of reasons that he wants to be a part of Arsenal. It's more because of the postal code.
Yeah,
where they are.
Sure.
Oh my God. I was like, in my head, I was saying, amen. the entire time you were talking, Stan. Real quick, and if you allow me, BG, I want to ask the lawyer a question. Rohan, what does it tell you that these conspirators of the Champions League, before they even announced it, went behind the scenes and stopped third parties from suing them? What does that tell you as a lawyer?
That means that they just
wait, bro. Before you answer, Ryan, you're a dick.
There is some fear, and that they're huge a-holes. That's what it means. They want to cover their bases all the time, which is fine. You do that, and it's fallen flat on their face. And now they realize that they can't really do it because of the backlash that they face like the whole time. And now they're trying to give a positive spin. Arsenal, the letter that you read out in the beginning, Tanner, was like it's like Ozil's PR team that's there, right? Like it's a well-crafted document. Apart from the fact that they try to make themselves as super innocent, that we only did that to be competitive, and it's because the other people were doing it. It's not us. But then sorry for doing that, and we heard you and all of that. It's not cold like Liverpool, but they're trying to be sly, and we can see through it. All of this just a sham. It's a smoke screen to know the things that we already knew. It's all about the money, and the system is broken. Just because I don't know why. Like there is rejoice in the fact that we will not get the money because we would have not spent the money, and we wouldn't have been competitive, and the Premier League becomes like the Carabao Cup, and then we get whooped every week by Real Madrid. There's some fan fatigue that happens, right? Like I can face getting whooped in the round of 16, which happens in February. I don't want to get whooped in August and September, right? Like so it's fine. I'm fine with not being there, but it really goes to show how the system is completely broken. It's UEFA, it's FIFA. FIFA, who's organizing the World Cup in the winter, screwing up everyone's schedule with, people who have died in construction, and everybody's looked the other way, But FIFA and UEFA now act, and they're like, you will not play in the World Cup because you're going away from us. Everything is broken. All of this.
Can I ask you a question, Rohan?
Little happy. It isn't like everything is rosy now, because the system was already broken.
Oh, everything is rosy now. Did you see that comment about the Cronkies out rally? Well, you saw it, BG. You put it up there, and I don't have the comments on because I have a short attention span. But no, this ain't over. This ain't over.
Can I ask you a question,
Ryan, if you're making fun of me, I'm not even looking at you.
I'm not. I didn't say anything.
I'm going to start looking at you now. I got my eye on you.
I would like nothing more.
I just wanted to ask Rohan, in these kind of deals, right? It was Perez, obviously, who was kind of behind setting everything up. There would have been contracts and so forth drawn up with the teams that were going to participate in the ESL. Would there have been some kind of a clause in the contract that basically says, like, if you don't go through with this and you fucking back out, there's an exit fee. There's some kind of a penalty. Is there any? Do you think that these clubs are probably going to have to end up maybe paying a hefty amount of money because they've broken this contract with the ESL?
That's possible. That's possible. Good. because you have
charge 100 million.
This is something of a termination for convenience, right? Like there isn't a breach here. These clubs have terminated because they just felt like terminating. But again, I'm some sort of a legal realist, in the sense that you do realize that you can't always take, even though you're right, you can't take every matter to court. You can't always stress on the fact that you are right. So these clubs are just going to not pay up, breach of contract, take me to court, but the court and in the whole football structure is run by FIFA and UEFA, etc. anyway, who didn't want me to leave. So who's going to give you any justice?
They must have signed something before the announcement was made to everyone, to make sure that everyone's on the same page, we're all a united front. Everyone's signed. Now we're going to announce it. So I really hope that there's some kind of clause or penalty that they have to pay, because the Cronkies will hate that shit. Having to pay out. They'd be
they might have this, right? Like, did you see how it was so planned? Everybody put the same letter, everybody had the same information for everyone, because this was obviously distributed amongst them, right? And there could be and there could be a thing of all of the, like we said in the beginning of the show, only the English clubs have pulled out, right? And there could be a clause to say that, if 50% of the teams don't play, then this contract is null and void, and that's 50% of 12. That's 6 clubs here who have pulled out now. So there's just so many permutations and combinations in contracts that can play. But the realist in me just says that it was just to show their importance to UEFA and to stick there and to get some more money from there, while also trying to test the waters. What if we leave, and what's the reaction going to be? And they know all of it now.
I just want to say Sam Greenwood's comment is the best one so far. We hear you. LOL. We'll go and buy fucking Haaland then.
Yeah. K-Man 1867 kind of brings me to just a quick question. Would any of you be okay with, let me just put it up on the screen. If you were forced to sell 51% of Arsenal's holding shares, if he had to relinquish majority ownership by 1%, would you be satisfied with that? And would anybody not be satisfied with it?
I thought we were talking about Rob Holding. I'm like, what? I got so confused. So I'm not paying attention.
Of our shares.
We own Rob Holding. 100%.
What would it mean by having that amount? What would it actually mean? What's the benefit to it? Does it mean that he wouldn't be able to make decisions solely on his own?
Yeah,
then that's a good thing.
There would have to be, because everybody talks about the board. The board doesn't exist anymore. It's ownership, period. It's Stan and Josh Cronky and their advisors, if you will. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with Stan Cronky. Well, maybe it's Josh if Stan trusts him enough to run the thing. So maybe the buck stops with Josh. But you get the point. There's not every time I hear somebody say, oh, the board has to go. The board has to go. There is no board. It's the ownership. The ownership has to go. Every time somebody says that, I picture a room with like 7 or 8 suits sitting around a table, cigars in hand and a glass of bourbon or whiskey or something, or scotch. And, they're talking about how they can screw us all over. There is no board. But the bottom line is
board meetings aren't they are not that fancy, and neither are they.
Right? Yeah, it's not Mad Men. It's not.
I reckon it's more like there's a room, and then there's like a table, and in front of the chairs there's like a disc, and then there's like a secret meeting, and they all go by hologram. So Cronky comes up in his hologram. You've got Abramovich, you've got John Henry.
It's like the phone calls in Star Wars. Yeah, right? Like you get the little disc and you play the message.
There's one guy who tries to say the ethically right thing, and they push a button and he goes down to the
I think I've broken my leg, but I'm going to attempt to walk now.
This water tastes funny.
Cronky would never just go down to 49% ownership.
No,
you know why?
No.
You know why? Because Arsenal is just a luxury item to him to show his other billionaire friends. Okay, he's not involved in it. When I looked for an image of Stan Kroenke before this show started to do my thing up on the board there, where he's still a big dickhead, every friggin' picture of him was with the Rams or the Nuggets or whatever other teams. It's nothing with Arsenal. He doesn't know what it's like to be a football fan and in love with the team. So it's not going to be 49% because he can't say, hey, look, I own a little less than half of that yacht. No, that's not what it's going to be. If he's going to sell, he's going to sell, and good riddance.
So go ahead, Ryan.
As my one little piece of input I'm going to put in about this whole fucking thing of shenanigans. And let me preface, I'm not Cronky but this is, I think, a time where I think Josh Cronky needs to come out with a statement. He needs to kind of separate himself from everything, because as far as to my understanding,
it wasn't me.
no, I say it because
it was Dad.
To my understanding,
All right. I learned it by watching you.
Oh my God.
And he'd be like, "Shut up, Junior."
I'm adopted. Right? I'm not even his blood fucking kid.
I don't know who
Anyway.
my dad is. I swear.
I am stepping away from royal duties.
To my point is,
I'm going to move to England.
Josh Cronky was given Arsenal as like a birthday present or a Christmas present. So to me, I think he needs to kind of come out, because I think he's the guy. I think he is the guy making decisions for our club. And I think that he needs to come out, make a statement, because things are only going to get worse from here on out. And to be honest, again, I'm not Cronkian, but if he were to come out with a statement and he were to kind of solidify himself as our figurehead, I would be a little less mad, because I Stan Kroenke, as far as his American ownership in sports, has been nothing but not good stuff. But with Josh Cronky, if he were to, take ownership, and if he were to take, this is me, I did this, I did that, and he were to be the driving force behind Arsenal Football Club, it would mean, I still want them to sell, but it would still mean a little something, because to me, Stan is just an absent dad. He might as well be just a dad that doesn't come to baseball games, doesn't take you to the park. He's always, at the strip club drinking.
And he always sends your mom just enough money to make sure you got a decent set of clothes on your back, and that's
exactly
it. Nothing more.
Yeah. I do think, and know it's definitely an unpopular opinion. I do think deep down, I think Josh cares a little bit, and I think he cares way more than Stan, obviously. I think he does see this kind of as his kid, but he hasn't shown anything. He hasn't shown any action. So, if he doesn't come out and say anything, then it's like, what are you doing? To me, this is the chance Josh has to shine. I know Josh came out in the summer, was like, hey, be excited. And obviously we make fun of him. There's memes everywhere about it. But this is another chance where, hey, come out and, put your foot in the dirt and be like, hey, what I honestly, I'm not an owner, so I don't know what you would come out and say, but because
come out and take ownership of the decision that you signed off on.
Because let's face it, this is unraveling fast. This Cronky out thing is not going to stop. And to be fair, I think if Josh were to come out, I still don't think it would stop. But I think it would stop the bleeding just a smidge. And I think he needs to do something, because it is not good. And I know when Wenger was leaving and everything like that, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, it's not Wenger, it's the board. Get Cronky out. It's Cronky out." And people had the Cronky out banners and all that stuff. But I'm just shocked that Josh hasn't really taken ownership and really hasn't put his foot in the dirt, because his dad is sinking this ship and it's going down real quick.
Where have you seen this before, right? Josh Cronky is basically fucking Shane fucking McMahon, right? He can do as many coast to coast as he wants off the top of the cage. His dad is still pulling the strings.
Pretty impressive stuff.
His dad is still pulling the strings, and his dad is the one that's making all of the decisions.
But I
see Josh is because Josh can be bothered to take a flight on a plane to London, and he probably goes out on the town in the evenings and loves that. He's got probably a lovely pad in Chelsea where his dad can't see. His dad is the one that's fucking pulling all the strings.
That's what I'm saying. If Josh doesn't come out, then I completely 100% agree with you, Stan.
And I think Vinay is going to be the sacrificial lamb. There's going to be a lot of sacrificial lambs coming up soon, I believe. And I think our one will be our smiley friend Vinay. He's a lovely lad, Vinay. That's what I keep hearing. He's a lovely lad. Everybody loves him. Will you watch how fucking fast he gets served up?
I don't know. I genuinely do think that this is Josh's kid. I think Stan's like, oh, I don't have a Christmas gift for my son. I can't get him a new car. I can't get him a hooker. Just give him Arsenal Football Club as a nice gesture for Christmas. We'll see what happens. And to me, and it kind of goes back to the whole, I can't believe I'm referencing this. It goes back to the whole Super League, and you would think the owners read the room and they could read the room. I mean, they're owners, they're millionaires, they don't fucking read shit. But I get it. They're rich, they're fancy, they don't have time for Twitter, they don't have time for social media. But it goes back to reading your fans, reading the room. And I guess maybe I held Josh not necessarily to a higher standard, but I thought Josh would be able to read the room a little bit. Whereas Stan, I know for a fact he wouldn't be able to. So it's like, hey, Josh, come out and be like, yeah, like
we fucked up.
Yeah, you fucked up. I took the Ferrari out when I was wasted, and Daddy gave me a timeout, and my timeout was us getting into the Super League. I come out with something. It's troubling because to me, when you see your dad owning a club and you know that this shit's going downhill and it's going downhill real fast, and who knows, maybe he didn't think that, but again, reading the room, you gotta be like, oh, hey, Dad, give this to me. I'll steer this ship. Because let's face it, we've all said this. Arsenal is Cronkies' biggest earner. We're lining Stan Cronkies' pockets. So you would think like he could have Josh could have like an ear to the ground and be like, oh, like, hey, Dad, like,
You think Arsenal make the Cronkies more money than the Rams?
They used to, maybe not now, but
not
they
now.
did.
Not
they
now.
did. They definitely did. Maybe a couple of years ago they did, like 2-3 years ago. But
with the new with the current TV deal that the NFL has and the new one that they just signed.
All right, who gives a fuck? That's not what I'm arguing. But the point is,
Glenn, go ahead. I see Glenn, you're over there shaking your head at Ryan. Go ahead.
Come on, Glenn, give it to me. Let's go.
It's not because I necessarily disagree with him, but Josh spent all his credits with me way back when he looked in the camera and told everyone, hey, be excited. Be excited.
That's what I'm saying. He has to come out. If he doesn't come out, that makes him look even worse. I mean, granted, I don't think they can look any worse than they already do. But like, this is just like, be excited. Oh, be excited. You ain't listening to a fucking Super League that lasted 48 hours, which the fucking shining spot of the Super League was Mourinho got sacked. And he's not even part of our fucking club.
Well, he's true to his word, right? When he said we will surprise you, I thought that just, I thought they were just going to change the brand of toilet paper they used at the fucking Emirates. Did they surprise me over the last 48 hours? Yes. Really fucking surprised, mate. So,
I mean, I was surprised with Willian and Pepe for $72 million. So I was surprised.
You guys, you're using analogies of Josh to Stan, and the way that I see, this is going to be a really old one. I think only Stan and BG are going to get this. I picture Stan and Josh like in the Smokey and the Bandit with Jackie Gleason and his son in the car. He's just beating on him the whole time. That's how I picture their relationship. Yeah. Stan's laughing. I feel good about that.
He's got the fucking cow horns on the front of the car, right? They both got the white suits on. The guy's white suits on.
All I know is I just came back to a Smokey and the Bandit reference, and that's tremendous. But Daddy, my hat blew off. We're so goddamn head was in it.
I mean, well, my point is obviously we understand that. I don't think any of us could really go back on Cronky out. Like, we want them out. Like, this is too much. But like, you think from their point of view, like, you got to just stop the bleeding. There's got to be a way to stop the bleeding. And like, to me, Josh could really come out and maybe own something, and he could put his foot in the dirt, because let's face it, we're all saying Stan Cronky, fuck Stan Cronky, Cronky out, Cronky this, and everyone focuses their hate on Stan Cronky. And to be fair, again, like I said before, I think this is Josh's, I don't want to say project, but Josh's pet. And I think this is, like Josh's.
You sound like you're trying to absolve the fucking kid.
No, I'm not. But like
Ryan Ryan, there's no coming back from this, Ryan.
I don't. I see. From my point of view, there is no coming back from this. But like, I just want.
I think he was up to his fucking neck in this whole deal.
Ryan is the true romantic here, because there's someone who's the good guy, but he's not getting enough action or play. Actually, there is a good guy in this story. Like, no, there's no good guy. All of them are assholes.
If his dad was the vice chairman of this whole deal, then the son was in it up to his fucking neck, mate. Do you know what I mean? And
it just gets me mad. I guess, like, being a fan of this club for so long and like really kind of submersing myself in everything. I would want my owner to be able to read the room just a little bit. It's kind of sad, pathetic at this point, and it's just like,
So
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Other than exposing themselves for being greedy fucking pricks. There's one other thing that they did expose themselves as in all of this, and that is, so I shouldn't say as, but exposing themselves for not understanding is the nature of this sport versus the nature of the sports that with teams that they already own in America. It's a completely different culture. These football clubs were built from the ground up. They were a group of guys in a pub that decided to get together in the late 1800s to go kick a ball. And then somebody rode a horse to the neighboring town and said, hey, do you maybe want to have a kickabout with the guys over in this town? And we'll take our horses and buggies and we'll meet somewhere in the middle and we'll play a game. Or you guys all come over here and bring the wife and kids, because afterwards we'll all go out for a smoke and a drink. And that's what it used to be. And in America, it's not like that. In America, it's you already have the money. So what do? You wait for one of the leagues to say, okay, we're going to open up the league now to expansion, and you have the money. And what do? You put in a bid in your city for a team in said league. That's how this works over here. The thing, I keep seeing some comments in the chat with the doing your due diligence on being I'll say a competent owner. They're competent owners. Trust me, they're competent owners in America. In America, they're competent owners. In this system, in the American sports system, they are doing, by our standards, they're doing well. Their teams are competitive. They're competing for trophies year in, year out. Sure, they have a down season here and there. That's the nature of sports. It's just not always going to fire on all cylinders every single year. But here they're good. They're good owners here. Their hands, though, here are also tied. Their hands here in America are tied with salary caps. So they can only spend so much money, but so can everybody else. You're not allowed to spend more than anybody else. So within the American system of doing things, they're good at American ownership. They failed to understand that football everywhere outside of America, really, or North America, because I'll include South America in this. I'll include Central America in this. I don't know much about Asia and football leagues over there, but in Europe, South and Central America, I'll even throw Africa into the mix. These things are created as grassroots efforts. The community creates the team. The community creates the club. The club is part of the community fabric in these locations. Okay. It's not like that here. The Pittsburgh Steelers, where I live in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers, you ask a Pittsburgher, and they'll absolutely, that's a staple of the community. Fuck you. The Pittsburgh Steelers were created, I'll say created using the winnings from horse racing. That's how the Pittsburgh Steelers came into existence. As far as their community efforts and the community and shit like that, fuck no. They took money from the taxpayers to build their stadium. That's how the stadium got built. So here in America, it's different. I'm sorry, I don't mean to drone on here, and I'll bring you guys in a minute, but I just every now and then the host has got to get his thoughts out there.
I think Ryan wants to go to the toilet. Put his hand up.
Yeah, you have to.
Ryan, just take the paddle as the hall pass.
I just have a question. Are they? Really I just have a question. Are they really called Pittsburghers?
What?
You said Pittsburghers.
No. He's trying to be nice. No, you want to be mean about it. Call him a Yinzer.
Wait, before the moment is lost, all right? That was awesome, BG. The beginning was like a Ken Burns documentary. I was totally digging it. But there's one thing you left out. Why is he successful with the Rams and other clubs? He loves those teams. He has no idea. He doesn't have any love for Arsenal. It's just a piece of property to him.
Well, and he's a businessman. When you understand that Stan Cronky is a businessman first and a sports fan second, when you understand that, everything else becomes crystal clear. You can move from perhaps the hatred for him because you think he should be this. He's never going to be what we want him to be for this club. He's never going to be that. KSE as an entity will never be for Arsenal what we want them to be. That it'll never be that.
May I just piggyback off something that you were just saying there, BG? And you're quite right. I mean, I'm not sure if a lot of these American owners understand the heritage that goes around some of these teams.
That's what I mean. They 100%.
Football is supposed to be a working man's sport. I mean, can you tell me in any other profession where you discuss somebody's salary by the week? I mean, look at your own salaries. You either discuss it by the month or by the year, right?
Yeah.
It's very rare. Do you know the reason why we know how much a footballer earns per week and where that goes back to? This goes back to the days when people worked in factories and they got little envelopes at the end of the week with their £5 notes and shillings in it. And it's to basically try to equate us to the wage. But when when they were earning in the factory, they weren't earning 350 grand a week like they do now. So now it just seems stupid. You know?
Well, even over here in American. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you want to look at some of their heritage, you only have to look at some of the nicknames that football teams have. Obviously, I'll start with Arsenal. We're the Gunners, you know. This was a group of people that were working in an armory and decided that they wanted to form a football club. Yeah. And we were probably one of the last teams to go from turning from an amateur team to a professional team. Had we held out and not done that, and we really didn't want to, we probably wouldn't be here today. The club would have gone under. There would be no Arsenal Football Club. You look at Southampton, they're known as the Saints. Do you know why they're called the Saints? Originally, they were a team that was started with a church.
Yeah.
A church team, right? You look at West Ham, I think they were ironmongers.
Yeah.
You look at there's one team they're called the Potters, right? And that's because of the area that they come from and the pottery mines. So some of these, if you look at the badges and some of their nicknames, you can really see that some of these teams go a long way back. A long way back. And what I found most embarrassing about all of this thing was about, we've chosen the teams that have background in history. Where was Bolton? You want to talk about football teams that have history in the game. Why wasn't someone like Macclesfield in there then, right? It's bullshit the way that they tried to dress it up. What history does Tottenham have? They've won the Aldi Cup in my lifetime. I mean, where's the history there? You're trying to sell this to me that this is a club that has a history and should be in this new elite competition. Even us, we've not been playing football at the top table in the Champions League for 5 years now. Yes, we are a big brand, but I'm one of those that you can't live off past laurels, right? You're only as good as your last sale. You know what I'm getting at? And we've not been doing too good in Europe, and all of a sudden we're good enough to be put into this this elite group. These people that were running the clubs at the moment, they have no clue. They have no clue of what all of this really meant.
You're absolutely right.
They had no clue. And I saw somebody in the chat box say, do you think Boris Johnson will put in some legislation to stop foreign investors coming in? That won't happen because how many businessmen are there in the UK that can afford to go out and say, yeah, I'm going to buy Chelsea, he's going to buy Arsenal, he's going to buy Liverpool, he's going to buy. Do you know what I'm getting at? It does. We're going to have to continue to trust these people and just hope that maybe the start of what's happened can maybe put in some kind of a model like they have in Germany. There's a reason why no Germans were in there because they don't own all of the team. The people have to have a percentage of the club.
The people own 51% of every club.
Exactly. And maybe there'll be that kind of a legislation that will come in that will take the monopoly away so that, yes, there'll be an investor that has the money and can do some stuff with the club, but ultimately they won't be left to their own devices, like some mad king sat on the throne who can just decide to put all the taxes up whenever he feels like it.
That was friggin' awesome, Stan. If it's going to be another American owner, as long as he uses the word football instead of soccer, I'll be okay with that. The other thing, Stan, I got to ask you, when it comes to the States, to own a Major League Baseball team, you have to go through a whole big thing to be approved just to own that team. Is there anything like that in place in the Premier League? I don't know.
There is. You have to even have like money, a set amount in a bank account like under escrow, so that if anything goes down and you lose your fortune or what have you, people won't just be left high and dry overnight. And I think they do various stress tests and stuff like that, but all because you've got the money and you say, don't worry about it, I can cover everything if anything goes tits up. You know, my missus owns Walmart. You think about it, Ston Cranky in his interview, don't worry about it. My missus owns Walmart. I own these teams. I own that team. I've done all of this before. You're going to pass the test. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm getting at? But it wasn't until he got all of his shares that he actually turned around and said that I didn't do this about winning trophies. That's not what I'm in this for. He said that, right? Do you remember? Mm-hmm. He came out and he said that. He revealed his colours back then. But he passed the test. So I don't know what the answer is. You're basically drawing straws. You know, a bit like a politician. Before you vote for them, they're going to spin you the story, tell you what they're going to do. And as soon as they get in, we don't have enough funds for this. We're not going to do that. So I don't know what the answer is about picking a new owner. Maybe we crowdfund it and we all become the owner.
I'm going to throw my hat in the ring to be named as general manager. Just saying.
Take it away. I'll be the new Ganosaurus.
Nice. Nice. Stan, you're hired. You're hired. So we're at about an hour and a half on this, and I kind of do feel like we could tackle this all night. I want to end it with two things, so we'll go around the horn with this question first. Stan, I'll start with you. After everything that we saw and heard today, how do you feel?
I still feel a little bit ashamed that my club got themselves into this mess. I don't blame the manager and the playing staff and the people that work in the club, but you know, the owner is the guy that's the face. He's the face of the brand now, isn't he? Of Arsenal, our owner. I don't know how he's ever going to be able to show his face. Not that he goes to games, but how can they ever go back again? You know, they're not welcome. I don't think they're welcome. The son's not welcome. So if you thought we had absentee landlords before, well, they ain't gonna fucking show their faces at the Emirates anytime soon.
Somebody actually put a comment in just like that if they ever come back to the Emirates, they're going to need a massive security force to get in because people will go after them. Rohan, how do you feel after today?
You know, I listed out what the feelings that I had: happy, and then angry, sad, like whatever. Like I had one more thing, you know, inside, like a small part of me for 1 second thought that if Arsenal go and they don't play in the Premier League, finally I'll be able to choose some other team. I'm just going to let go of this. I was like, seriously, I was considering it for a second, and I was like, you know, finally now without guilt, I have justification. There's too many podcasts that I'm on. I can't just pretend to be another team.
Wait. So who would you pick? Who would you pick?
Oh,
the best team. I want to win now.
This is what
I'd be a Manchester City fan.
My first thought when he said that was the exact opposite. My first thought was Newcastle. I just love everything about that.
You want some more years of pain, is it? Like you've not had enough years of pain. Right?
I had no choice.
I started supporting in the Invincibles year, so that was because they were playing really well, and that was the year. That was the 1 year that they gave me joy, and since then they've just given me banter. Bantered. I've been bantered. I don't know why this is. Every time I'm hopeful, I have to defend. I need to like read up some more than the other guy just so that I can defend myself. I feel like, you know, how women feel on the streets whenever they go out, they're like vulnerable. That's how I feel in this football sphere, and I don't want it. I want to win, and I don't want to get bantered.
I figured it out.
Quickly here, if I had to pick a new team, I was snookered, and this really panicked me because of my family ties. I would have had to choose Newcastle, right? Yeah. So I would now be jumping out of one frying pan and getting into bed with Mark Ashley. Oh my lord!
Wait. I figured something out though. I mean, we've basically had nothing but a run of bad luck since the Invincibles, right? Rohan, you got to pick another team, man. It's your fault. You're the bad luck charm here, brother. You got to pick another team, man.
Now I forgot your question you were asking to end the show. What was the question?
No, just we're not ending the show.
I thought
no, just how do you on this topic, how are you feeling right now, Glenn? With everything that happened today, how do you feel right now?
things are starting to turn into positives for me. Positive that the entire Arsenal fan base has woken up about Kroenke, and it looks like people are starting to do stuff about it. And the other thing is the first 6 teams to drop out of that Super League were Premier League clubs, and I'm taking a little bit of pride in that. And I'm with Stan on the rest of it. I don't blame the players, the staff, or anybody else. It's solely on Kroenke.
Yeah, and for anybody that thinks that Vinay needs to be thrown under the because I know, Stan, you said you think he will be the sacrificial lamb. That's not saying he should be. I don't think he should be the sacrificial lamb at all. I think he's simply doing what ownership has directed him to do. So if there's going to be a fall guy, it needs to be the Cronkies in this. Ryan, I don't even know if I want to ask you because you didn't give a shit to begin with. So
fucking lick my balls, Tanner. You should.
Whoa! Wait. All right. So either Glenn gets the blanket or I get the blanket. What is it going to be?
No. See, I don't want to say this on live air. You know what? I'll keep it for the after show. For the off air.
You hope you don't forget.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm excited for Everton on Friday. I think we're going to do good things. Normally you would think a game like, so close Friday with Everton, we wouldn't shit the bed, but they always shit the bed too. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Xhaka left back. Oh, we're talking about the Super League. Listen, I apologize to everybody. I've been texting fucking people. Granted, it's Glenn, you should be excited. It's all about you. And stuff like, no, good stuff. No, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Everyone's complimenting how good of a job you're doing. I'm actually being serious about that. But I knew it wasn't going to happen, and it's not happening. I mean, and it goes back to what Glenn's saying. I'm happy that it's bringing the Cronkies out to be what they are. And when we were trying to get Wenger out, people were like, "No, it's Cronky. No, it's Wenger," and it was a whole kind of fight. And when kind of people started to slowly come together, they were like, "Oh no, it's Wenger. Get Wenger out." And I think Cronky kind of went under the radar for a little bit. And then you had your Cronky outs still, but definitely think they went under the radar for quite some time. And I think now it's like you got nowhere to hide, buddy. We cut all the trees down.
We've pulled back the curtain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hector Bellerin can't plant any more trees for you to hide behind, Stan. Sorry.
And in my defense of Newcastle, I'm a hopeless romantic, and there's something about that stadium on top of a hill in the middle of the city and how passionate they are. So I'm a hopeless romantic. So shut up.
That's all right. That's all right. I had my team picked out.
Who?
So I had my team picked out. If I had to jump ship and pick another,
I already know who your team is.
Who
is it?
Who? Go ahead.
Villa.
No.
Wait, I thought you said it was.
What? Nope. Not in London. Ryan, close proximity wise, but what do you know about me? And what's the I shouldn't say the one thing I love because I love
Wolves.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
I'd go because for no other reason than that. That's the only reason I'd go with them. That's it.
So you like really boring football? All right, good.
I actually like Nuno Espirito. I just like saying his name, Nuno Espirito.
No, you just like his beard.
That too. He has a good. Listen, see, it's all. Listen, I live in Pittsburgh. All of the sports teams here are black and yellow. They're black and yellow, so it just black and yellow. It works. I think I just talked myself into being a Wolves fan.
Ryan, did you give us your second team if the worst case scenario happened?
No, I didn't.
No, neither did Rowan. So he said, "Well, Rowan kind of did with whoever."
Now I would go with Leicester because they seem like they're the best of the lot. I have seen them win a league title, in recent memory. When they win, they give everyone pies and beer who comes to the thing. So there's some goodwill also going on. For all of these reasons, I think I'd have to choose Leicester or whoever I think is going to win. But this time it would be a winner. That's the first criteria. I'd every set of friends, I'd say a different team so that I can have some alibi. And
all right, so you'd like the team that only won a title because Giroud forgot how to score for 2 months. Okay.
Hey,
Ryan.
No Vardy, no party. Come on.
I know who Ryan's gonna say.
Who? Oh, I'd like to. What?
I know exactly who you're gonna say, and it was your first guess for me.
No.
Not Villa.
It's funny, and I guess I'm a petty bitch, and people are gonna call me out in the chat. If it wasn't for Emi Martinez, it probably would be Philip. But Emi Martinez is there, so it would not.
Oh, wait, do I get one more? Do I get one more guess?
Yeah, you're not gonna get it, but yeah,
Everton.
No, Brighton.
No, okay.
Brighton.
See, okay.
Something weird like Gillingham or something. That's what he's going to say. You're going to say something weird like Gillingham.
Glenn knows more than anybody. And I
In the
appreciate
fucking
that.
Premier League. They're probably the championship for the
First of all, I hope this happens. But me and my fiance are going to fight. She actually likes Bournemouth. She always says, up the cherries, and because she doesn't know what the fuck she's watching. Up the cherries. She still thinks we're the Premier League, but whatever. I'm going to probably go for Barnsley. So hopefully you get Bournemouth and Barnsley in the finals of the championship. When it goes to the Premier League, and boom, you got me. But yeah, honestly, my second choice, if they don't get in, would probably be Brighton. I'd have to go with what Stan said. Brighton, Danny Welbeck. He'll always have my
Ryan.
heart. Yeah, Matt Ryan. Danny Welbeck will always have my heart.
Namesake
and
as
my
well
balls.
as like looks a lot.
I said
Looks
Brighton.
a lot like you.
I can feel it. I just feel it from you.
Lewis Duffy, like they're just too.
The seagulls out on Long Island. You have seagulls.
I'm just saying. But hopefully Barnsley take care of the Cherries in the championship playoff.
Oh my
Shut
god!
my fiance up for once and for all.
Last thing on this. So Ryan, are you excited seriously for?
Right. Okay. So you wanted to. Right. So you asked me. So Sean, listen. I wasn't invited to be part of the team. Right. Burnley, at Burnley, they're not seen as a glamorous club. But, I'm glad it's not happening now. And I think those 6 clubs are utter bastards.
Did Sean Dyche just show up here?
That's Sean Dyche.
You just missed Sean Dyche.
Don't ever do that again. I'm a little bit high. You freaked me out. Holy shit.
Right, because it's like my Sean Dyche. If you close your eyes, it's also like Tyson Fury as well. It's like they're two very similar, right? But
I can hear you guys. I'll be right back. I can hear you. I'll be right back.
All right. Ryan, you're on board on Friday. You're all in on Friday for Everton. Yeah. None of the last 48 hours has made you feel any sort of way. You're looking forward to Friday.
I'm a little annoyed because I didn't know we had a game on Friday. And then someone says, I'm like, oh, we have a game. Like, oh, it's all right. That's all I'm worried about. I don't know if you guys talked about Fulham before I got here, but
we did not. Saving it for you, cowboy.
Oh,
right, about Fulham.
Got my heart. No, I mean, it's back to the grind. It's back to the inconsistency. It's. But to be fair, it sounds terrible, but I'll take the inconsistency all day long. I love this team, and they could join a Super League for 48 hours, and they could. Now you're good, Glenn. They could do all these things, and at the end of the day, I'm excited for our game against Everton on Friday. I have 2 good friends who are big Everton fans, and I'm gonna just talk shit all week until we draw, and then I'm gonna look like someone who wet their pants at the playground with all of his friends watching. So,
as the Super League stuff dies down, I'm glad, Ryan, that you can be excited about Everton. But now that the Super League's dying down, the bad taste of Fulham is returning to me.
Let's go. Let's talk about Fulham.
No. I'm just saying. I'm not excited about. Of course, I'll be watching it, but I'm not excited about it.
I echo that. Because like a couple of weeks ago, that's when I realized, right? Like a couple of weeks ago, this friend of mine, like we all have a FPL league, fantasy league, and then he was like, Arsenal is going to be playing, like Arsenal have a good fixture, so I can bring in Aubameyang. And I was like, who's Arsenal even playing? Like I was just I do a podcast every week, right? Like, and I was like, who's they playing? Like that's like consciously my brain just shut it out, and then I was like, oh, it's Sheffield, which was one of our best games that we played. But I mean, there's just no excitement. This is what happens. This is what happens when you I can't explain. Now there's nothing to play for in the Premier League, right? That this is what the Premier League would have become if we went to the Super League, because there's nothing to play for. We can't make top 4. We can't do anything from this season. We go into matches and we watch it because we just have to. That's just we're zombies and we have to do that. But in reality, that game means nothing, because there's nothing's going to come out of it. What means something is the Europa League, and then we're sort of excited for that, and we can probably look forward to that. The only significance of that Premier League game is, and why we watch it with some sort of excitement is, or rather anxiety, is that Saka doesn't get injured or Smith Rowe doesn't get injured. Oh God, really, this is what we are now. Saka and Smith Rowe don't get injured. That is what we hope when we watch the Premier League.
What we are now is we're going into this Everton game, and they have 3 losses on the season, and we have 12.
Way more than that.
Go and look it up. It's no more than 4 or 5. I guarantee you.
Stan, are you?
It's 10, Glenn. It's 10. It's 10.
Stan, are you?
All right.
Glenn, you'll see yourself out over there.
I've reached my limit of smoking off camera. Go ahead. Go.
Stan, are you looking forward to Friday?
No more than 4.
Obviously not as fucking much as Glenn is. So.
Hey, the league is dead. You celebrate how you want. I'll celebrate how I want.
Listen, Glenn, man. Listen, Glenn. You come on to Same Old Arsenal USA. You need to come correct.
Listen. I'm fine, whatever your name is.
Everton, man.
Glenn, you got me crying on camera, Glenn. You got me crying on camera. What the fuck?
I'm at the point now with our league games that if they're dead rubbers, and we ain't gonna, and it's all of our eggs are in the Europa League, then why can't we start playing players like Balogun? Why can't we have a look at maybe someone like an?
That's why I'm excited. That's
for
why I'm
half of a game, because it's not going to hurt, is it? It's not going to hurt at all. It gives the fans something to look at, and you never know. Mikel Arteta might stumble into another happy accident like he did with Emil Smith Rowe. So
is Laka even going to play? Doesn't he have a hammy problem?
No, he's out. It's either Eddie or Balogun.
What's that?
It's either Eddie or Balogun. Laka's out.
Well, if I have a choice, Balogun, I want to see that kid. Game means nothing. Throw Balogun in.
Exactly. We've given this kid a contract, and it doesn't look like we're going to give Eddie a contract. So why are we giving Eddie the minutes? Are we trying to put him in a shop window? Fuck that. Yeah. Let's have a look at Balogun. Let's have a look at this guy that we're putting all of our bets on. We're putting all of the eggs into this guy's future, into his basket. So let's take a look at him for a while.
Oh, I absolutely agree. This is his chance to take the bull by the horns, like Martinelli did, and others. Like Tierney did. You step up and prove yourself. Yes, get Balogun in there. Totally agree.
It's definitely going to be interesting because when you look at, you obviously, it's not going to happen, but you want Balogun to be announced, his extension that apparently is signed, sealed, delivered. But you look back, you look at Holding when he signed his extension, he didn't play for a while. You look at Saka's extension, he didn't play for a while. But to be fair, Balogun's really never played for us, so you would think he would play when they announce him. I agree with Stan wholeheartedly. You have to play him. You can't start Eddie, or if you do, fair, fine. But Balogun has to get minutes. You have to get Balogun minutes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I'm excited because I get you called. Maybe I should be an Everton fan because I like being punished, and I want to see my team play week in and week out, and I want to see the players that we have, because let's face it, I do like some of these players, and I think that there are players that have potential, and I think this is Arteta's time to kind of weed out the weak ones and weed out the players that aren't going to be here next season. And like the chat says, like I've said, I really want to see Aziz. Definitely want to see Balogun. Maybe we'll see some different formations. Maybe we'll see Pepe as our 9. Maybe you'll see Martinelli play as our 9. I think this is the chance. Like everyone, we've all said it. We've really nothing to play for, but we have everything to play for. We're building this team, and we're not there yet, and we're not good yet. And Arteta's got to make some decisions. He's probably going to have to sell some players that not everybody agrees on. Whether they're good enough or not good enough. And I think that this is the perfect time. And I really, 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 truly hope that Arteta sees this and he tests some things out, and he tests some of these players out. Are they willing to be a part of the ship? Are they going to be a crewmate, or are they just going to sink? And if they're going to sink, in you go. You Bellerin's, bye, see you later. And there's others, but that's just the first name that popped out to me. But it's going to be very interesting to see how we put out 11s going forward.
Real quick, BG, I only have a few more minutes. My son is in the next room, passed out with Cheetos all over him, and GTA 5 on pause. So I'm gonna have to leave in about 5 minutes.
That sounds like a good time to me.
I have to help get him to bed so he doesn't wake up his mother, who works from home. So I got about 5 minutes just to let you know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think we're going to dive into the Fulham game for the last 15. So the floor, if you have anything you want to say on Fulham, the floor is yours.
No, I studied.
Did he freeze?
I said, Ryan, I sit here when you give 10-minute answers along with the rebuttals to your points, so you can deal with me. No, everything. I am a little bit excited about the Everton game if Balogun's going to start, but otherwise, bring on the Europa League. Can't believe I said that. Yeah. Ryan, you're going to give me a complex.
I'm sorry. I just heard Villarreal's undefeated in the La Liga. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I've said everything. I don't know why people banter. From day one, I said this Super League wasn't going to happen. It was crickets. No one even wanted to talk to me.
Yeah,
and then so
I feel your pain, Glenn. I feel your pain.
So there's no happiness at the end of a banter that you win because no
look forward to Everton on Friday.
No one stops to say, "Hey, you were right. Nice job." It's just like, fuck you, move on.
Hey, Glenn, you were right. Nice job.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Guys, I thank you so much for having me on. This was absolutely the most wonderful time.
Man.
And it's great to see you all, and I got to go clean up the Cheez-Its now. Okay,
Glenn, you're welcome. Glenn, you are welcome on this program anytime, my friend.
Anytime is awesome. I'll see you guys.
Take care.
and he's gone. And he's gone.
I love Glenn.
I don't really have anything on the Fulham match at all. Ryan, you were looking forward to talking about this. I'll come to you in a minute. Stan, do you have anything on the Fulham match at all?
No, not really. I know a lot of people were talking about, for some reason, Eddie celebrating and all of that seems to be a talking point. And I'll just say, who gives a fuck? I mean, by the time we kicked off again, the whistle went. There was nothing. There was nothing. There was no time in it for anything to really happen. I guess that why can't you be glad to salvage a point? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we played really well or anything like that. However, if you come off the bench and you manage to salvage us and get us a point, why can't you be happy? Why can't the team be happy? A 1 point is better than no points. Yeah, if there was maybe another 20 minutes to go and all that was going on, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Kick off and let's try and get the next goal. But it was done and dusted. So it was a non-entity to me. And, just another, I've been banging the drum about inconsistency. And there you have it, yet again. And that's another thing that just made this whole ESL thing laughable. We need to reflect on it. We're struggling to get a point against Fulham. Meanwhile, we're announcing to the world that we want to go fucking start doing the tango with Real Madrid and Juve. So you got to put things into perspective, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to put things into perspective. And this is the level where we are at the moment. The only thing that's left is the Europa League. And let's not, I don't want to, I really hope not, but you never know, man. There could be a punishment coming down the road, and who knows? Maybe we won't be allowed to play the semi-final. I really hope that's not the point, because we've worked hard to get to this point. If we're punished by being omitted from that competition, it only hurts the team and us. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really hurt the owners, and they're the ones that should, they're the ones that should be dragged out into the town square and flogged within the fucking inch of their lives in front of the whole of the villagers, the owners of the club. So for me, I'm really looking forward to getting to the semi-final. That's where it's at right now, and let's use what we've got left in the Premier League as maybe a mini pre-season. Let's have a look at some of these players that are maybe up-and-comers. Let's give them 10, 15, 20 minutes here and there. And if Mikel Arteta is clever, let's use this time now to try and further instill what he wants to see for next season when he spends a bit of cash, hopefully.
Yeah, Rowan, anything on Fulham or I guess if you got anything left for Everton on Friday?
Another game, another Gabriel mistake. He's been making some mistakes, so which is worrying. Like Stan said, we're 18th. We're facing the club who's 18th. We draw against them and we celebrate like we're going to win the league, and then we announce that we're going to the Super League, right? Like that's what our club is. It's just confused, you don't know which direction it's headed, and throughout the game, I felt like there were moments that we could have capitalized and we could have won it as well. But still not good enough. There's just no joy. For the past 2 seasons, especially like week in week out, there's just no joy in watching it. I watch it because I have to, but like there's no real expectation about Everton. Again, I'm going to tune in and I'm going to want us to win. The time that we watch. The worst one is. Like it was in Liverpool, right? Like against Liverpool, which was the Saturday, and it was the morning. It happens in the morning here, and I didn't watch it live. So the time I don't watch it live, I don't go on any social media, nothing. I record the game and then I watch it, whenever, which was at night. So I have not done any of that, and I watch with anticipation. And that's what I did for the Fulham match as well. Like the whole day, I wasn't on Instagram or on Twitter, nothing. And then I watched it, and because I was like, that maybe we're going to beat them like 3-0 or something. It's going to be a happy day. And then it just went on. It was 60 minutes, 70 minutes, conceded, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, and I was just like, okay. So Everton is the last chance, I think, that we have to play a decent team, although that I don't think we should. We should play the youngsters now, because from now, the Europa League game, we play like in 1 day gap. So we play the Premier League, we have 4 days, we play the Europa League, then we have like 1 day rest, and then we play the next Premier League game, 1 day or 2 days rest, because we're playing that thick and fast, and that's already injured, so it already sort of shows where we are at. We can't wait now. Aubameyang's gonna have to pull us through, so we're back to Aubameyang. That's out of form Aubameyang. Let's see whether he can become the hero at the end of the season. Imagine him.
Is he back in training, Rohan? Yeah, or is he still?
No, he's still recovering, right? But I would still think that another 10 days left for the game. The Europa League game, he should, I think, be able to recover. I hope that he's able to recover. If not for the first leg, then at least for the second leg, he should be able to recover. And then, who knows? So there's the Europa League is there to look forward to, and the only reason why I look forward to that is because that's a route into the Champions League. Like I said, at the end of it, I want to play those big teams, and I want to play with that excitement. But on the other hand, it's not at the cost of getting beaten, 5-1 and 4-0 every other week. So, that's the life of the Arsenal fan.
So Ryan, you got about 6 minutes here. Nope, you got 5. I know you wanted to talk about Fulham, so here's your chance.
Well, thanks for giving me a time limit, Dad. No, I just don't understand. People really thought we were gonna beat them 3-0. I didn't. I knew it was gonna be a close game. I knew it was something to happen. We're Mr. Inconsistent. Like, what do you expect? But to be fair, I think we played really well. I think we've dominated the fucking game. We played way better than them, but that doesn't matter. It's goals that matter. It's goals that give you points. It's a score that gives you points. So it sucked. I want to see Xhaka left back for the rest of the season.
For the rest of your life.
Honestly, I don't want to see him anywhere else. For Arsenal Football Club, if he has to start in our 11, only left back for him. But I mean, granted, when Tierney comes back, see you later. I actually did not think Martinelli had a big chance today, a big opportunity against Fulham. He did not take it. And the best way that I could describe it was you go to a sleepover and you're hanging out with all you're 12 years old, you're hanging out with all your friends. There's one kid that just drinks way too much Mountain Dew, and he's fucking bouncing off the walls. He's talking. To be fair, that was me. I was that guy.
You don't say.
Yeah,
Is anybody
really?
shocked by that?
Yeah. He's bouncing off the walls. He's going crazy. He's doing things. He's stealing the ball. He's still in control of someone and playing video games. And that was Martinelli. Early on, I think it was the 8th minute. Ceballos had a really good chance at scoring for us, and Martinelli didn't hear Ceballos, and he just
cut right in front of him.
And and to be fair, they weren't really marking Martinelli, so Martinelli had a lot of space and a lot of opportunity for us, and he didn't. In my opinion, I don't think he really took it. So that's concerning for me. I hope we kind of put him in as the center forward if that's what our plan for him is going forward, because especially now the games don't matter. He just has to play there. And I'm going to toot my own horn. Toot. I said Gabriel is not our best defender. He's always rash. He makes really dumb mistakes. And everyone's like, oh, he's so good. He's our player of the season. Well, there you go. There you fucking go. I mean, I'm not surprised that happened. To be fair, and I don't want to get into this conversation, but the only thing I'll leave out is I really don't understand VAR. And I don't understand the offside rule at all. And it's kind of embarrassing that I've been playing soccer/football my entire life. I've been watching my entire life, and I still do not know the definition of offsides. So that's a little embarrassing. I found that out, watching us play Fulham.
Yeah, I am really, really upset that I tried to stay awake, didn't stay awake, woke up, set an alarm, and actually woke up to watch the game. And that's what I saw. That was, yeah. So, hey, Arsenal.
You can't be that mad. I guess you can be mad because we took a point out of Fulham. We played so well, though, and it's just.
That doesn't matter.
I guess, but when did
we play so well? It's not like we dominated them. We didn't have.
We did. I think we did dominate them. It gives me hope because I do think we talk about how this club throughout the years they used to have one or two pieces because they want that quick fix. They don't want to go through that rebuild, and they just want to. Hey, we'll sign Petr Cech. You'll be fine. We'll win the league. We'll do. I think watching this again. Granted, it's Fulham. I understand that, but watching us play, we played really well. We showed some kind of harmony, some unity. We played well together. And I'm not saying we need to extend Lacazette. We don't. But I think it's something to kind of carry. And if you go through the film, you watch the film, we did a lot of things right. And I think it's something that we could learn from and excel from. And I think we could add a few more players like Basuma, please sign Basuma. I think and I'm shouting Tony out because I always tell this is Tony's thing. And me and Tony have talked and I've always agreed with Tony. I do think that, Partey could be our only CDM, and I think you could put Odegaard and ESR or ESR and Saka as our 2 8s. There's just so much, and this is the first time I've seen just opportunity, and there's just so much that we could build on. There's so much that we could do, and people just say, "Hey, trust the process," and it's like. To me, it was all words. It was all talk. We have Arteta. We have a young manager that's never coached before. And we have these players that kind of don't have a direction. And yes, Arteta is all about tactics, but he's not about player management. This game, to me, I was like, I see something. I'm almost, I don't want to say I'm buying into the process, but I see something, and I think that we could build on that. And like I've always said, we're not a good team. So I wasn't expecting a 3-0, a 4-0 against Fulham. Granted, I know Fulham are bad, but let's face facts, and people have said in the chat, and I agree. Fulham has something to play for. We really don't. We're just kind of on the training pitch.
We have pride to play for.
They
We are
don't-
national, and we're
We've had this conversation. They don't care about pride. We're in a right now. We're playing a scrimmage, a training game until Villarreal. Fulham are trying not to go down to the championship, which to me is the biggest embarrassment of all. And that's
the thing that you say
No,
that
no.
we played well. We just looked okay because we were playing a team who was 18th in the league, and we were just okay. And we didn't do anything extraordinary. Do you think Manchester City need, they just look like that when they play against these teams? They whoop them up so that they can, and they don't rely on the fact that, Martinelli did not got the shot away, or Pepe's header got cleared off the line. They don't depend on things like that.
But that's the problem with this fan base.
And we want the problem with that fan base is that we want change too quick. We've been waiting for change for 18 years now.
Yes. The
I'll
problem
tell you what the problem
the
is.
problem is people are comparing, and Rohan, this is not directly to you. People are comparing us to Man City and saying like, "Oh, Man City." Well, we're not even shining Man City's boots right now.
We're not even Manchester Borough, let alone Manchester City.
Yeah, you can't compare us to Man City. We're still
Correct. But it's been 18 years since our last league title.
I agree with
We've
you.
been transitioning for longer than we had a successful period. What
And
are
I
you
agree with
talking
you, but
about?
Hang
not
on.
blaming the coach. I'm not blaming the players. You blame the board for that. You blame the players that we're buying. Because, like I said, we went through a rebuild since we left Highbury, and we bought Petr Cech. We bought the Lucas Perez's. We bought these players that like, oh, quick fixes. And I guess, again, going back to what I feel like I've been fucking saying every weekend. It's annoying, and I hate I'm saying it. Just we have the, I guess I can at least speak for me and Tanner. We have like that American sports is when you go through a rebuild, it has to get worse before it gets better. And it's just been progressively not good. Oh, now we're 9th. Oh, 10th, 11th. Like, this isn't good. It's got to get bad. We need to make big adjustments, and I think it's going to take time. And again, I understand it's Fulham. I get it. They're 18th, but it gave me a little hope because, like, oh, these players can play together. I think you got to add a few superstars. You got to add a few pieces to the mix, and I think we could do big things. I think Arteta tactically knows what he's doing. I think his move with Xhaka to left back, it's worked out for us. I think he's done a lot of things right for us, and I think it's weird to say, but I'm more Arteta in than I've been in a while after watching us draw to Fulham 1-1. I know it's crazy to say, but again, I see the bigger picture.
Stan, you wanted to jump in there. What'd you have?
I just wanted to say I think the problem with our fan base is that all of a sudden, because Gabriel makes one mistake, he's shit, and all of a sudden fucking Pablo Mari is our best defender. I mean, how many Man of the Match awards has Pablo Mari won since he's come to Arsenal? And how many times has he been voted the Player of the Month? I think.
And to be fair, I've never said Gabriel was our worst defender. I just said he always has a mistake. He has that mistake in him, like a David Luiz and Xhaka, and he's very rash, and he could hurt us. And he has in the past, and he's gotten red cards. He should have got sent off against Man U.
I think it's taken him a little while to find his way back after COVID.
Yeah, no, and
do you know what I mean?
That's what really derailed him.
I do think, and I'm not aiming at all of this at you, but there was some in the chat box, and all of a sudden it's like Pablo Mari is our best defender, and it's like based on fucking what? Do you know what I mean?
Stan, wait.
What is it based on?
Stan, I'll answer your question. The most recent performance. It's knee-jerk reaction. Our best players change week to week. Let Bukayo Saka have a game that we all agree on. Like, okay, yeah, boy, he really had a stinker there, and everybody's going to be like, oh my god, like if we could get $100 million for him, sell him right now. But like, that's just the state of this fan. That's just what this fan base is.
I've never said Gabriel was shit. In fact, I was applauding him last week, and I said it was a steal. We bought it for that much money.
Ray Anderson, Stan, when Gabriel got Player of the Month, we weren't playing well. Yeah, but Gabriel was.
Yeah,
that's why he won the award.
And he's been a great signing for us, and he's going to be a starting center back for us in the future. I just don't think he's our best center back right now. And I know, to be fair, Stan, I don't want to tell anybody this, but my skin crawls when I say this too. I think David Luiz is our best center back, and it sucks to say. Yeah, I know, I know, but it's tough based on I think we're trying to find that balance. I think it's all about balance, and we had such a good defensive structure, and I think Arteta instilled that in us, and we're still not that bad. But in finding the creativity and finding the offense, which I think we had a decent amount of offense against Fulham. Back to the same old Arsenal. These hiccups, these mistakes that we make defensively are just always going to bite us in the butt, and I don't know how to fix it.
And I really want to see us play. I really want to see us play Gabriel and Pablo Mari together. I really want it to happen just so that we can finally see that it ain't going to fucking work and we can put that one to bed.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I want. I want Murray and Gabriel to play. But I don't know. Not up to me. Hopefully we could maybe bring in Saliba sometime next season. I hope.
So
or the Ballards and the McGinnises too.
2 hours and 5 minutes. Let's get into our final thoughts here, and we'll wrap it up. Been a good show. Rowan, I'm going to give you first crack at your final thought.
Final thought is now for the rest of the season. Let's put this let's put this ESL thing behind us now. Premier League becomes training and selection for next season. Europa League is our priority. Let's hope that we can put up a performance on each leg and not be the have a glorious defeat or something like that. Go against Villarreal and have a professional performance. Hopefully Aubameyang's going to be back and he does well for himself, and everybody knows how that I am a big Aubameyang supporter. He hasn't done enough this season. That now is the time that we need it. 3 games. If he performs in these 3 games, I think everything in this season that has happened till now will be forgiven for him if he does a madness in this last 3 games, which is the two semifinals and hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my final thought. And yeah.
Stan?
My final thought, and I mean, maybe only certain people around my age group will get this, but Pamela Ewing, she wakes up, she hears the running water, she gets out groggy-eyed, goes into the bathroom, and there is Bobby Ewing in the shower, all soapy, and it's all been a bad dream, and he was never dead. And that's what I feel like now. It's almost like I've woken up from this nightmare, but I still think there's going to be a little bit more to come. So I'm just going to sit back now and see what's going to follow. Arsenal, yeah, Everton is Everton. I just want to get to that semi-final now. Everton for me is kind of like in the way. I don't think what's happened is going to affect the team. I think that we'll still continue to be inconsistent. So you might have a blinder on the back of Fulham, or we might have another total fucking, disaster. It's like that.
You want to shout out the chat while you got the floor?
Yeah, man. Insurance Basket popped in. That's my favourite handle, as is Indian Man. Tell me this and I'll tell you. Tell me this, I'll tell you this. Not seeing me now. Colin Addy, Tony Turner, Brian Dines, DWTT, Rahul Ray Anderson, the Arsenal Misfit, EK Eminence. A lot of new names tonight. I'm sure. I think Glenn might have brought his posse in with him tonight. But listen,
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us tonight and sticking with us. And I look forward to having you all back next week. And hopefully next week we'll be sat here again talking on the back of another win.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan, final thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm fucking petrified of Villarreal, and I'm, with all our injuries, I'm nervous. But I think as far as the Premier League concerned, Arteta, he's got 2 hands. He has the SS Minnow, and he has the Titanic. Who's boarding the Titanic that we know is going to sink? Who's going to board the SS Minnow that's going to stay strong? And it's going to take a little while, but it's going to develop. So
that might be the most profound thing he has ever said on this show.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, God, that was fucking brilliant.
But yeah, so I think these Premier League games are really going to show who's boarding what ship, and I'm excited because I would hope we're going to see a lot of players play, whether it's the Azizes and the Balligans, or just the Martinelli playing 9, the Pepe playing the 9, just players playing in different positions. But yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited to watch my boys play.
Can I just say as well, if this is your first time coming around these parts, because there are a lot of new names that I've seen tonight, please give us a subscribe. We do this shit every Tuesday around about the same time, and we'd love you to come back and check us out again.
Yeah, whatever channel you're watching on, be it the Same Old Arsenal, be it BG Media, drop a subscription, and you know what? Go over and drop a subscription to the other channel while you're at it too. Final thought from me, just this is brilliant stuff. You guys bring it week in, week out. Love you guys to death. Can't wait to actually, get together and do this shit over some beer and shots. And, by the time it's all said and done, we'll look like a bunch of drunk circus midgets trying to stumble our way back to the hotel. So, and from there, the debauchery begins. Oh my, yeah. Other than that, I got to tell you, this ESL thing is really kind of taking its toll on me. I got to be honest. I'm not really looking forward to anything at this point. It's like the idea now is out there, and it's in the back of my mind that things as we know it with our football club could change at the drop of a hat at this point. And we see now, I shouldn't say we see now. We've seen for years that it's moving toward money. We need a system in place where the money is distributed the right way, whatever that might be. Clubs aren't left behind. The big clubs are not dominating everything all the time, simply because they can afford to do so. So, yeah, I disagree on the Everton point. We can go to 8th if we beat them, and you have to think that the scum are going to start to fall back. I do think if there's for me personally, and everybody would be happy about this. For me personally, there could be a St. Totteringham's Day again this year. That would be great. And if that does happen, we're back at least in European competition, and that's better than not being in European competition, especially when we consider that money makes the football world go round. Does it not?
Imagine in our worst season ever, we still finish above them. Like I didn't even think of that. That would be. There's still. I agree with the sentiment on the Premier League guys, but I will respectfully disagree. I think there's still a lot to play for, because in the Europa League, if we bow out early, we're left with nothing there. So the Premier League becomes that there's still a fair amount of importance there, and Everton, we can go above them on goal differential if we beat them, and we can still catch the scum, go above them in a week or two, perhaps. Top 4 is off the table, but Europa League is not, and it's better than nothing. So that's all I got. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It was therapeutic. It was fun. It was entertaining. I think we really got everything off our chests tonight. And I can tell you right now that when I get out of here, I am going to sleep well tonight. So that is all we got for you, everybody. Thank you in the chat. Drop us a like, drop us a dislike, subscribe to both Same Old Arsenal. Please subscribe to BG Media. The one thing I can promise you both of these channels are going to provide is good footy talk. We'll see you out there.